Hello, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, where in today's video, I'm going to take you through my 4 key takeaways from the ACCA SBL examination preceding information for the June 2025 exam sitting. My name is James, I'm an ACCA qualified member, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe if I can help you on your ACCA journey, just like the students above me who are sitting their SBL exam, and I'm delighted to say got 50 plus and passed. In this video, I'm going to take you through my exclusive SBL notes you can see on the screen, and if you'd like a copy yourself, be sure to click the link in the description of this video and you can download a copy to follow through with the video. I'm also delighted to say that I'm associated and affiliated with Astranti, where they offer mock examinations, pre-SEAM packs, things that are definitely going to be helping you to pass your examination. And if you were to click, again, the links in the description below and purchase anything for pure transparency on the channel as always, I'd be entitled to a small commission which goes to supporting the channel. So as always, a massive thank you. I really hope the notes, the videos, the insights get you that little edge to get you over the line. So be sure to share this with any other students who you think it could benefit, because we're going to get straight into that first takeaway right now, which is all about, for your notes, the board of directors and ownership. Now, if you are watching this video, I'm going to be completely honest with you. It is Wednesday the 21st, and I have classes and lots of things going on in my world. So the notes that you see on the screen are not the actual fully completed ones. We are nearly there. However, I want to make sure they're absolutely perfect for you for when you download them. So I will be uploading the full copy on Thursday the 22nd, and you can get a full copy there. Now, coming on to that, where those notes will be linked down below, the first key area is all about the board of directors and the ownership. Getting straight into it now on the right-hand side on page 8, we're first of all not given any names to the non-executive directors, any of the key board of directors on there, so that is something to be aware of on the exam day. And then on top of that, you'll see from my notes as to, we have the non-executive directors, but we're not told anything about their experience. Is there a familiarity threat that they've been part of the company for a long time? And we have no idea if they have any expertise in the shoe industry or operating in Luckland on there. So little things to get down in your notes, especially from a ownership and board of directors perspective. Now, if we come on to, speaking of ownership on the left-hand side now, agency theory is something for you to get down in your notes. The link between the board of directors who run the organisation on a day-to-day, week-by-week basis. But then you've also got, of course, the proper owners, the founders, the family owners who have the majority share capital at 70%. So why have we got this down as a key point? Well, the founding family have no involvement in the management of the company. And this is linking to the implementation of the mission, the vision and values you'll find later on page 12. This is where there are some issues, shall we say, in terms of how the organisation is being operated, where if you come down to, and this is the knack with going through these SBL notes, it links into so many different areas. The bit on the left-hand side, I'll put my mouse by it now, is that most of the directors have worked at Dearn for over 20 years. Relationships between the directors are positive and they are quite risk adverse in decision making on there. And you kind of get the feeling that they are very comfortable. They have a top-down hierarchical structure on there, very functional. They've got all the communication in place. But as you read it through, they go, well, they're really, in terms of just looking after ensuring the day-to-day operations, that they run efficiently and effectively. So you kind of get the inkling that there could be an area of a strategic question being asked. They're not really put under much pressure. And when you dive into the other areas of the pre-SEAM materials, there is a clear change in the operations in Luckland for the shoe industry. And Dearn's actual board of directors are going to have to make a decision about what products they're going to look at selling in the future and how the business is going to change on there, because there are some issues. So definitely something to get down, and especially to link it into, which will come on to the actual employees who work there, because they actually are very satisfied. So it's all well that the directors are very comfortable, the employees are very satisfied, but the business is slightly taking a slowdown and the growth of the industry is stagnating as well. So that is area number 1, the board of directors and the ownership model. Now, coming on to our second point for a key takeaway, that is all about the customer satisfaction, which is sadly decreasing. So you've got to come all the way down to page 12 now. This is where you'll see on the right-hand side, again, I can put my mouse near it down here. We've got the customer satisfaction, which the industry average is 7.5. And what we have here for Dearn is a rating of 7. Now, the key bit here is from 2000 to 2004, it's dropped from 8.7 to 7.0. And the key bit here is for your answers, and if you were to refer to this in a requirement on the exam day, be specific to actually quote those figures and quote the years in your answer. That is what the SBL marker is going to want to see from you. The application of the pre-seen materials is going to be the difference in you passing this exam. So then you've got to say to yourself, where does that customer satisfaction, which is dropping year on year, link into other areas of the pre-seen materials that we're told about? Well, if you look above to the purpose, or shall I say, Dearn's website extracts, where we have up here, we have the mission, the vision, and the values. And you can see on here that they've got for the mission that they want an enjoyable customer experience. Well, the customers don't seem to be enjoying it quite as much as they used to. So again, comment that it is declining in terms of the customer experience, and it's not aligning to the overall mission, which the board of directors are accountable for. In terms of the vision, to become the first choice for shoes for the whole family. Well, if you have a look up at page 4, which we'll come on to later on into the video, the market share of Dearn actually in Luckland is only 9.4%. So you kind of go to yourself, first choice shoes, and they only have less than 10% of the market share. Kind of doesn't align to the actual vision, and you don't get the sort of confidence reading through the pre-seen materials that it's going to increase anytime soon. Lastly, we have the values on there about the long-term commitment to our staff, which is good. You can see it below. It's actually just ticking along above 8, which is really good and above the industry average. So people like to work there. Staff turnover is going to be very low. However, the bit above it, in regards to a quality, or shall I say, a focus on quality of the product and service, in other words, what the customers receive, actually has been falling. So that is an area that it links into the values, the actual mission, and also the vision in parts, that you could link that customer satisfaction dropping as a point for your exam day. So make sure you're really specific, quote the areas, and refer to those specific figures of the ratings. So that is area number 2, customer satisfaction is decreasing for Dearn on there. Now, area number 3 for a key takeaway that is going to link into those first 2 points is if you come up all the way to page 3, we're going to be looking at now the shoes, how they are manufactured and how they are sold. So this is where you can see up at the top, it's a shoe manufacturing process. You'll see in my notes, you don't have to be a shoemaking expert on here. You've got to have a general knowledge of what is going on. And that is where you need to be aware of the shoe types that you can see at the bottom of page 3 on there. And this is the main key bit where students are going to make mistakes on the exam day, is that the formal type of shoes that require the most handmade aspects of it, or they are handcrafted, are the only type of shoes which are handcrafted on there. So formal are the only handcrafted smart shoes on there made of leather, whereas the semi-formal, casual and children's shoes are all mass produced. So that is really, really critical, especially when it comes to the actual margins on the products. And then we come down to, well, we've got those 4 types of shoes, and then you've got to say, well, Dearn on there, what are they actually producing? And if you look on page 4, you get a breakdown of the 5 largest companies, which we've got Rego, Flamingo, Parish and Betterby. Dearn is one of the 5 main largest companies actually operating in Luckland, and they own 45% of the market share, with 2 E's in my notes, but we'll amend that. But then the key bit as well on here is, don't overlook, and it was only in 1 sentence on page 2, that the smaller organisations actually take up 55% of the market share. And in my notes, you'll see on the side that Dearn actually does handcrafted shoes. So those are those formal shoes that we just talked about. And on top of it, they also do mass production. So when you look at it, they're actually in competition with every single large company and all of the small organizations. So are they actually doing too much? Their price point is neither low nor high. Something for the board of directors to consider moving forward. But as we talked about in our key takeaway number 1, they seem pretty comfortable with how it's been going. So again, there's got to be a shake-up in terms of either the pricing strategy, the products they produce, and the overall strategy for the business on there. Then you've got to say to yourself, well, where does that link into other areas of the pre-seed materials? And if you head down to page number 10, this is again, we've got those types of shoes on the right-hand side now: formal, semi-formal, casual, and children. And then we're just given little hints like Parish, Betterby, Rego, and also one other company name called Tiptoe at the bottom, that these indicate the market leaders of the particular types of shoes, which we are actually told that Dearn on there does hold and actually is the largest market leader for the semi-formal shoes. But the different types of shoes have different levels of profitability on there, and we're given more information about the target markets, but it's just a highlight as to, are Dearn spreading themselves too much? And there are also other issues when it comes to the mass production on there. So it's really highlighting the competition, seeing where the larger competitors come into it as well. And the final bit you'll see in my top note on there, it's called Mill. So Dearn markets these shoes which have a mill mark, and that is a made in Luckland mark, an accredited manufacturer on page 6. Really, really good to have. And when you read through the pre-seed materials, you kind of say, well, why don't they just focus on the formal shoes, which they actually make in Luckland and people quite like on there? Because that nicely leads me on to our key takeaway number 4, which is all about the operational change in the strategy. In other words, how is the business changing over time, and what has happened previously that if students don't get their head wrapped around it, they will make mistakes. So the key bit on my notes on the left hand side there is the strategy change. So 15 years ago, Dearn's manufacturing was actually always in a town called Lena on there. I've put it in light green so you can differentiate between that and Luckland on there. And then what they actually did was they were trying to take advantage of the significantly lower production costs. They moved their shoe manufacturing to one of Toffland's largest shoe manufacturers on there. And what happened was they actually used a company called Exco Limited on there to mass produce the shoes actually overseas in Totland, brought it into Luckland through a company called DT Global Transport, you'll see the bit in purple, and then would sell it to the market. Now, however, with that, the customers who are in Luckland go, well, we quite like the shoes that are made in Luckland, and we're more aware of when we see shoes being made overseas at a cheaper cost, it affects us because we don't like to buy it from, say, cheaper labour standards, and therefore we would rather buy it directly from the high standards that we have in place in Luckland. So again, you say to yourself, well, they transferred that 15 years ago to use a company called Exco Limited, and this is where you'll see in my bits on the screen here, honestly, when I've been going through this, you've got to be so careful and so specific on the particular place, the particular name, the particular country. That's why I've highlighted all the different areas. And to be honest, it's taken a lot of time, but it will pay dividends so you don't make mistakes come the exam day. So in a nutshell, what has then happened where we've been given more information as to the present day? Well, if we come over to page 8 on the right-hand side now, this is where I'll put my mouse on it. You'll see it on the right-hand side. So the sentence is, the relationship between Dearn and Exco, that's the company who operate in Totland to make these mass manufactured shoes at a cheaper cost for us, was very positive. So the relationship was very positive in the past when they operated it 15 years ago. but over the last 2 years, there have been a growing number of issues about the quality of output, in other words, the mass-produced shoes. Quality checks have highlighted poor production quality. They've had a lot more returns, and customers have commented on faulty shoes and actually being slowly in raising with the delays and dispatches as well. So this is where it's led to an effect on the actual brand reputation, and customers, as we saw in that actual mission and values, want to have a good brand perspective, and they want to buy into a company that they actually trust and know where the shoes have come from. So in other words, in terms of the operational strategy, it's obviously been going a bit downhill, and then you've got the board of directors who seem to be sort of pottering along and just going, yeah, it seems to be going all right, we get paid, we're enjoying what we're doing. But the founders in the background, this is where the agency theory could come into it, are going, are they looking after the long-term strategy of Dearn Shoes Limited, or is this going to be a recipe for disaster, that there could be potential lawsuits involved here, maybe some fines, brand reputation being put into tatters, and this is where it could link into some of the theories that we have. So you've got Porter's 5 forces, SWOT analysis, PESTLE. There is a heck of a lot of things to talk about. So that is my area number 4, or key takeaway number 4, should I say, the operational change in strategy and what is going on in the business. Well, that takes us through our 4 key takeaways, as I said. Be sure to like this video and subscribe so you get access to all of my updates and SBL videos for the June 2025 exam. If you have any questions, leave me a comment below. And as I said, the full exclusive SBL notes will be available to download. I'll put the link in the description of this video, so check it out down there, along with those fantastic Astranti packs and mock exams for you to check out. So thank you very much for all your support. I'll leave another SBL video above, and I'll see you on the other side to get you that 50+ to pass your exam. So thank you very much.